Aldridge, well-known specialist on world soccer, someone whose work I've appreciated over the years on many footballing subjects. Keir, thanks for being with us. I wonder whether you were surprised by Mesut Ozil's announcement.
Yes, I was surprised by it. I mean, obviously, Germany had a very poor World Cup, and once they came home, there was blame flying in all directions. And obviously, Ozil felt that a lot of it had been personally directed at him. He said he felt as if he had been made a scapegoat because of his, Turkish family background. And this was what tipped him over the edge to make his accusations about racism within the German Football Federation leadership and not to want to play for the national team anymore.
And then we heard a German politician, Heiko Haas, saying that, what does a multimillionaire who earns his living in London, playing at Arsenal, have to do with German integration? How can he comment on that?
Well, I mean, the interesting part about it, if you go back, you have to go back about 12 years when Germany hosted the World Cup in 2006, and Turkey played there. And I think the German media, community generally, was, very surprised, pleasurably surprised at the way that the country managed and coped with these, sort of dual identities emerging from the sort of immigrant population. And the sad thing about this farrago over Ozil is that it really seems to sort of set back that image. And of course, this is the business about immigrant populations, second generation. This is something now that is not just a sporting issue. It's also a national issue, national political issue, and of course, it's also an international issue.
We heard one of our street interviewers saying that sport and politics don't mix. Now, is that kind of naive? Because there is some who say sport actually is politics, and you can't really separate the two.
No, you can't. No, it is naive. I mean, for example, why did Russia want to host the World Cup this year? Because it's a very good PR window for Russia. Staging it, whether it's the World Cup or the Olympic Games, these are great events, and countries and cities want to get the benefit of them. No, you can't separate sport and politics. And, I think basically the sooner everybody accepts that, then the better. And in fact, people can move forward possibly, with a more realistic appraisal of the connection between them.
And in many ways, of course, sport reflects the society that we're in and that we're brought up in. And I recall working at a match back in the 80s when fans threw bananas at John Barnes, the supremely gifted and wonderful Liverpool forward. I find it depressing to think that football and society hasn't moved on since then, that there's still that racism, and obviously with the rise of far-right politics across Europe, maybe that explains why that's still there. But it is a depressing thought that since that time, we don't appear to have moved on that much, do we?
We've moved on quite a lot, but we haven't moved on enough. I think, one of the sort of the depressing, as you say, points about this is that really, sport, which is this great vehicle for connecting people, for communication, for understanding, for a mix of people, is unfortunately being used negative way by people who want to also make their, if you like, their negative points and make their political agendas, whether right or left, make them felt through sport.
And as for Mesut Ozil, who has been a supreme performer, a real talent, a wizard on the pitch, for his legacy and his memory to be this one now, because this is how he'll be remembered, isn't it? As the player who accused the German FA, the German Federation, of racism and then resigned from the national team. It's sad.
Well, yes, I'm afraid it will in a lot of ways. He's played 92 times for Germany, so he's in the latter stages of what would be his national team career anyway. And also, of course, Ozil himself has a particular style as a footballer, which is somewhat controversial for media and fans. Who think that he's a bit too relaxed, or he appears too relaxed as a player on a pitch, and his critics have used this to attack him as well. So, as I say, if Germany had come out of the World Cup and they'd gone out in, say, the quarterfinals, I don't think this would have been an issue. But when a team does badly at the World Cup, everybody then is looking for scapegoats, and Özil is the player who has caught the most severe backlash.
Keir Radnege, thank you